Jason, and this is Dr. Chris from the math faculty. Today we'll be doing an interview regarding his work life, which is for the SCIF project. G'day.
Hi.
So if you were to explain to a high schooler what you do, what would you tell them?
What do I do? Well, I'm a lecturer at the university, which is sort of split between research and teaching. And probably during the semester it's mostly teaching and organising big classes and lecturing and such like. And over the summer and in the breaks, and also when I get time during the semester, I do research, which involves working with people around the world on mathematics projects. Day to day, most of the time I'm just preparing lecture notes, answering student queries, writing tests and all that kind of thing, just dealing with the organisation of courses.
Can you give us a brief insight on what your research is like?
My research? Well, I guess I started out doing research in mathematical physics, and it was to do with black holes and the symmetries of equations around black holes. Okay. That sort of led me to some work on the underlying mathematics behind equations in sort of mathematical physics, particularly to do with the symmetries of equations. So I guess what I do is studying how the structure of the equations allows you to solve the equations and ways to approach a problem so that it can be solved.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, at what point did you actually think this was where you wanted to be? Or what point in like your high school career do you think, okay, I want to be researching, I want to do something in math?
Probably I didn't ever think I want to be a researcher in mathematics. I was definitely interested in physics and sort of good at mathematics. And it wasn't really until I'd done physics at uni that I realised mathematics was what I wanted to do. Not because I didn't like the physics, but just because in order to understand the physics, you need good mathematics. But probably it wasn't until I started a PhD that I realised I wanted to do sort of research in something like mathematics or physics. Before that, I just thought I'd just like to do something interesting. I could have easily ended up working with computers as well, programming or something like that. Probably something technical, but not necessarily research-based in university.
The whole motivation was not I wanted to get a job and a career to get money. It was more like I just wanted to do something I liked.
Yes, definitely.
So what would your average day look like?
Okay, my average day. Probably on an average day, it would be an average day during the semester, or an average day outside of the semester would be quite different probably. During the semester I would be probably come into work and answer a whole lot of emails and have some classes and go to lunch. Just lots of little things come up basically during the day usually, during the term. Outside of term time, I'll probably go to conferences a bit more and visit colleagues around the world. So not necessarily always here, but then it's quite a lot more just working on problems and just more long-term sort of sitting in office trying to nut out.
Yeah. So can you tell us what skills are really important in your work?
Well, obviously I have sort of technical skills with mathematics.
Yes.
But probably the thing that's most important is actually just being able to deal with a big problem. I mean, basically organising a big first year course or a research project involves lots of people and breaking the task down into little pieces and making sure they all come together and get done in time. That's probably the main skill, is just actually being able to deal with a project that it continues over a long period of time, over years, involves lots of people and make everything fit together.
Yeah. So are there any other skills that's particularly required in a research career?
Research, I suppose, perseverance, just basically being stubborn, because it's if a problem's easy to do, it's already been done, and so you just have to probably need a good idea of what's possible, which I'm just understanding generally, what's out there. But just being able to stick at some problem which is at first you just have no idea, and just keep chiseling away at it, and eventually make some progress.
What's the shock factor in your uni life so far, from first year to now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a difficult one, actually. I've never really found anything particularly shocking. Yeah, I don't know, actually. Can't ask.
So, in the duration of 10 plus years, you don't really find anything abnormal about university? Nothing?
Shocking. I don't know. Not really. I mean, the things that surprise me at times is when a student is at university and they don't really want to be here. That I find that I wouldn't say shocking, but university there's lots of opportunities, and sometimes people end up in the wrong place and they don't do something about it and find the right place. Just I think it's really important to make sure you're doing what you're interested in, what you want to do, and sometimes I meet people who really are not in that place, and I find that a bit odd. Yeah.
So if your life was a movie, what would the title be, and who would cast you?
Yeah, I guess probably throughout my career at university, I've always thought, how the hell did I get here? I wasn't really expecting this, and so that'd probably be the title, maybe something like that. Who would be me? I don't know. I like when I watch movies. I like sort of quirky movies. I like actors that have quirky sort of roles. Probably a sort of fairly mainstream actor who always has odd sort of roles. Might be someone like Johnny Depp or something. I don't know, but just.
So it would be a drama?
A drama? Oh, I hope not. And hopefully not a comedy either. But I don't know. I mean, I guess probably the movies I watch would be sort of art house movies, and just ones that are just show quirky aspects of life and people. I don't know if I really want to characterise.
What's your favourite movie?
My favourite movie? I used to. The movies I liked in the past probably like some Stanley Kubrick movies, like Doctor Strangelove and 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
There was one really quirky movie a few years ago that I'm sure no one's ever heard of, called American Movie, and it's just about these guys in a small town in the Midwest who were, everything in this town is just there's nothing to do there, and no one ever does anything interesting. But this is three guys. I think they're at high school, and they decide to make a movie, and it's a really it's just cliches of crap sort of story, but they're really into it and they really get it. They're the only people in town doing anything interesting, and they just stick at it. They do it and they make a movie, and it's just it's just a nice sort of quirky story.
That's cool.
So this will conclude our interview with Dr. Chris. I want to thank you for a whole 25 minutes.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.